Here we go. There's our piece. I haven't pulled everything out yet. Dust is your enemy, right? So I have a spray bottle. Now, not all this is going to apply to you, mind you, because you're not looking for like super duper quality here and perfection. You just need to get this thing up and, you know, halfway. Anyways, you see me just squirting water on everything that I can. Dust is an enemy. A big, big enemy. So I squirt the worm down, mop the floor, anything that I can, so that the water is going to act like a magnet for the dust. So instead of the dust like floating around and landing and then floating back up and then landing on your piece, then the water is gonna keep that at bay there. There's 1.5 ounces. And 3 ounces, the amount that I'm pouring is way more than I need. And here we are. Now see how it starts? Okay. Now, at least for the stuff that I've used, now they say stir slow. I found it doesn't matter if you stir slow or stir quick or stir upside down or whatever, you're still going to get bubbles in it. Mixing it is very important. Most of the instructions I've seen tell you to take and pour it into another cup after you're finished with this cup. That way you invert the contents. And I semi-agree, because when you fuck up a shoot because you didn't stir it enough, you feel like it's a real dumb mistake to make. So when they say 6 minutes, they mean at least 2, you know? But they are underscoring. You need to take the time to to stir this stuff. And I showed you before, because you can see how the consistency is coming together there, how the tone has changed. And I usually go until it looks kind of fluffy. Like, I can't explain it. It's just, you'll see that it looks blended. Now, yours may look different. Each one has its own. I'm really wasting time here while I stir. Stir is a word. And usually, like, I take a lint brush and I go over myself with the lint brush, trying to get up any extra hair or dust or anything, because dust really, really sucks. All right. You see that looks pretty good. You see how it's all the same consistency, and you see how, like I said, it looks fluffy. Like, part of that's the aeration from all the bubbles I put in there, which kind of sucks, you know, but what are you going to do? But yeah, this is, I think you're familiar with this. You can buy them anywhere, right? And that really helps for getting the coat nice and smooth. So I pour, and look at all the bubbles. Look at all the bubbles. Now, I don't think you're going to be going for a coat this thick, to be honest. I don't know how thick you want to go. It does take a little bit of thickness for it to set up, so it's not looking all like lizard-like with its skin, alligator skin. And you might want to leave some in the bottom so you can fill in holes later if something goes wrong. You already see all the bubbles popping. I've learned that I don't really need to leave any in there. I have a stick, right? But I found that if I take and get it close to the edge, like that, right? I went over. And then I take my stick right here. You can see I just work that edge. And that's how I get that beautiful bevel that you'll see on yours. As I just work it to the edge like that. To the edge, not over. Once it goes, look at all the popping. Can you see that in the video? I hope you can. So you see, I do this real quick. Just run it out to the edge there, like that. Because I don't feel rushed when I'm working with this. But you have to keep in mind, hey, you know, you've only got so much time. And the longer you go, the more it's going to turn to honey, and the more trouble it's going to be. So I do my edges first. And I'm doing a real crappy job here, but that's okay. Because in my case, I can have this stuff fall down the side. I can have it drip off the bottom. It's not really going to affect my product. You have to worry about that vertical surface. I don't have much input for you there. do that vertical. I was looking at it like you might want to take a paintbrush and just go with it on the vertical, and maybe the top too. Tape it off like you would a paint job. You have more knowledge about this sort of thing than I do, so I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to do just fine. And you see how I'm taking it all the way out to the edge there, and then I'm looking at the reflection, right? I'm looking at the light and its reflection in it, in the epoxy, as if it's water. And that'll tell me if there's a dry spot, like right there. And you see how I'm seeing that reflection. See right there. See that dry spot right there. So when I see that, then I'm going to come in, I'm going to add a little bit of epoxy. Now the reason why you might want to leave some epoxy in the bottom of the cup is because you can take your stick, right? And then you just go ahead and drip some in there like that. And that'll help to fill any gaps that you have, or, you know, any type of valleys that you might. And see, all those are bubbles. You see how it looks sparkly like that? It won't look sparkly in real life, but it won't look clear. When you see it and it doesn't look clear, those are bubbles you're seeing. So let me finish here. Now the reason why we have this, like I said, is so we can get it nice and smooth across. So you just kind of run it out. Don't think about it too much. And those grid things that they have there really helps with that, because if you don't have it, then it's a real pain to get it to. And you see, every time I dab it and whatnot, I'm just creating 1,000 bubbles. And I can't seem to help that, but it's okay. Now you will have some, like, a little bit of like this going on. There, I missed a spot. Ow! I just stabbed myself. You will have a little bit of this going on. That's okay. This is self-leveling stuff. So as it sets up, it'll fill in. Like this right here. Let me show you on the camera if you can't see it already. See, like that right there, how it's just down a little bit? That'll fix itself. That's not a problem. Because when it levels out, it'll be okay. But if there's a dry spot where there isn't any epoxy, it's not going to fill it in on its own. As long as you have the epoxy going out, that is probably a hair right there. Those are all bubbles. And now we're about to open up the torch here. Torch it! Alright, there you go. Now you can see bubbles pretty good in there. That's stuff that kind of, like I said, it looks kind of like hazy, looks like glitter, something like that. It should look clear. If it looks clear, you're good to go. But all that stuff you're seeing there, that's all bubble. So let me get the torch going here. I don't know if you can see it on cam. And look, if you sit here for a long time, you're going to burn it, right? Just go like this. You see those bubbles pop? You don't want to spend any more time than you have to on it, because if nothing else, it'll at least put a wave in your epoxy, but it can burn. And if you burn, then it just kind of keeps getting worse and worse. You see how I'm just going over quick, and you'll see that it looks like water. It really does. And sometimes, like, you'll do it, and it's good to come back and check a couple minutes later, because, like, something will work its way to the surface, or you'll just miss something, because sometimes they hide on you. And now I want you to see what it looks like. I should have shown you a before here, but I think you can see it going away in the video. You see how it looks like water? It looks like it's underwater. And it's hard to tell. See that right there? Is that dust or is that a bubble? Sometimes it's really hard to tell. Now how we tell, is that dust or is that a bubble or is that dust, is we come back with the torch and we just hit it lightly, right? Just lightly. Don't spend a lot of time there. And see, it's not going away. So that's dust. Well, how do we take care of the dust? Is we take our extra here, right? It doesn't have to be wet or whatever. And just dab at it. See that? We need that dust under the surface. Now look. See that? Now it's gone. But that wasn't a bubble. You can see where it used to be right there. Hey, you can use my reflection. Right there where it used to be. And that should level it out. No, I see it's still up on the surface a little bit. I think I left a couple bubbles when I touched it. So let me come back with the torch here real quick. Here we go. And we might have to hit it one more time. Ooh, no, those were bubbles. So when I dabbed it, you see I'm going over the rest of it too. And if you look at the reflection, you can see it changing. Those are bubbles popping. Sometimes you have to look at the reflection. Now, like I said, I think this is a little bit more involved than you need to be for your project. See, look at that. Look at that. Woo! Oh, mama, yeah, that's beautiful. Woo. And you can see them pop, too. You know what? Let me put some bubbles in there, and then maybe I can catch it on camera when they're popping. Bubble, bubble, bubble. You can see those bubbles, right? Sort of. I guess. Now watch. And then take a look at it in the shadow, or in the reflection, I mean, and see there's one right there. Oh, whatever. Okay, so that's not too bad. Like, that might be a win. You can see it dripping down off the side there. That might be a win, because that looks pretty good. You might want to make, like, a tent out of, like, some scrap wood and some plastic. Like a three-dimensional frame, and then staple some plastic to it. Then you can cover it up. I have this board, or this table here. Or you might just want to be like, hey, screw it, and just leave it out. Just put like a keep away sign on it. You know, whatever. I was giving it like 8 hours, and then I extended it to 12, and now I'm extending it to just a full day, you know? So give it at least 12 hours.